name's Jonathan Wilson, and normally I'm considered a composer. I write music primarily. Most people do not know that I lead a double life. And the other part of my life is that I'm also a writer. It goes hand in hand with my music. They really do help to reinform one another in terms of my aesthetics. So the first thing that I think is important about my writings is that in my poetry, which is one part of my writing that I do, is that a lot of my texts are using iambic pentameter, so you always have an unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed pattern that's pretty consistent in those. So to give you an example, I'm going to quote one of my sonnets that I had written years back, a long time ago, and it goes something like this. Marooned upon a nameless island here, awaiting you to find my pensive heart. I feel the presence of frenetic fear as I dwell in loneliness apart from sympathy. I would not utter lies that torture countless lives to misery. I would confess myself for your replies. But many miles far you are from me. If ever I should send a messenger to bring you words of unrequited need, perhaps it would arouse your soul and stir your heart to those results profound to heed. Profess the truth, if true it ever was, if love was ever written in your claws. So that is, over the years I've written a lot of sonnets, so this was sonnet 39. So yeah, there's a ton of those. So that's one little bit of what I do. In more complex writings that involve poetry, I like to use haiku language. I find it very desirable. I could use trite, commonplace stuff to go through various issues that I might want to talk about, but I don't find it as memorable if it's so dry. For example, say you're in a scene where you're in a relationship with somebody and then you find out, oh, that person's cheating on you. So you're thinking, okay, what am I gonna write? And then you're thinking, oh, I should write stuff like, hey, I just saw you with this other person. How dare you? You're cheating on me. You know, stuff like that. And it doesn't sound, I mean, it might sound a little funny, but it seems a little dry, you know, because you hear it everywhere. It sounds the same all the time. So a little passage that I'm going to do for you is from a play that I did years back called Surefire Love. And what happens in this little excerpt that I'm going to give you is that there's a character called Gent Solon, and his girlfriend is named Freya Jensen. And, well, it turns out that he discovers that she is secretly going behind his back by going on this relationship with this guy named Clarence, who happens to be somebody else's fiancé. Or fiancé, yes. So, in this scene, he confronts her about this particular infidelity, like so. This time, an accusation makes its point, encouraged to endure these painful joints. Excuse me, Freya, but we have to talk.
About ourselves?
About your breach of trust.
What breach of trust?
I know disdainful pleasures gained for all the lechery you have wished, and your apostasies to worthless lust for all your noble happiness. Tell me, what gives you privilege to maim these chains obscenely with another puppeteer for whom your ribald schemes for pleasure's need? For you with sensate promiscuity to be lascivious and rude and vain, committing contumacious acts, is tantamount to offering an oath of treason, aimless like an anarchist.
Seems like you finally figured out my act.
darkness. You shame my heart deceitfully with woe, and stultify the bonds that we've procured, and tear my heart with infidelity. What ignorance, what arrogance you breathe! It magnifies your treachery and shame.
You couldn't take a hint at all, could you?
A hint? What hints are hints? I find are hints when nothing can figure ends that way. I may be clocked or timed at a turtle's rate, but not too slow to reprimand this misdeeds, for I appall your faithlessness, this act, this treachery when fraudulence occurred, for you decide to utter not the truth? To let a penny from your pouches slip into the pockets of illicit thieves? How dare you steal my trust to test my wit? For you filthy, lavish wretch, you vile, ugly hater of the faith. No dialogue to end it formally? Proceeding with another foolish man and living filthy lies insults my heart. Methinks I had adored you once before, but here I never have and never will. And let me tell you something. You'll never find affection where a pill may fail you when its titillation spills, and you'll live alone in darkness when you're ill. So, heightened language.
Can you turn the speaker that way so there's no point to the mic?
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, hopefully we won't get as much feedback this time. So, iambic pentameter, still present in here. Sometimes interpolating words around to put stress on the first part of the word rather than on the second part of the word. And heightened language. Another thing that I like to do is that I like to create allusions or draw connections to historical references or to fictional works that people might recognize or know. But at this point, my works become very challenging and difficult to understand because you combine that language with the allusions, and if you're really not as familiar with them, you can get lost easily and confused with these combinations of techniques that I'm using. So the next excerpt that I'm going to draw for you is from a soliloquy by a character called the Bear Caliburgeon. It's a work that I'm working on presently. It's been going on for a very long time. And so the Caliburgeon is what you call beautiful virgin, Cali, the prefix, and then virgin. Clad in white, she's a very intelligent person, socialite, grew up in New York, she's wealthy, an aristocrat. She's also a suffragist, so she's really a big feminist, and very detestable of men in particular. She wants to really transcend man in particular to be dominant, I guess you could say. And so the soliloquy I'm going to draw for you is that she gets a letter from some person about something that's been happening that's showing once again man just playing things or taking things too far, and her response to that as a suffragist. So hopefully you'll get, if you don't understand what she's saying, hopefully you can take from that her extreme dislike of man in particular and her wealth of knowledge in particular. So I hope you'll get that from this. Here we go. Regard sin's pairs, Francesca, Guinevere, Paolo, and Lancelot. For love they kiss and die. Lend thought on other bells of lust I tried. Astarte's daughter, Queen Semiramis. Isolde, treacherous with suicide, the way young Cleopatra kissed her fate upon her lavish night with Antony. Am I by beauty strands of flesh and blood the symbol of a fertile prostitute? Destroy the thought. Let Satan burn this thought. Well thought. A cunning man made plans of caper. To think I flourish in the gardens, yet to sell me to the priest of simony and rape Belinda's hair shall fare for power. If Helen's face can decimate empires, what could mine do? To think my bearing carries influence as rosebuds by their blossoms' effluence. What powers oppressed attractive women wear? If men adore the women they oppress, why then oppress the women they adore? Fair liberty enlightening the world, Our Lady Liberty is humbly put, the mother of the destitute exiles. Fair irony man gives this woman voice, and not a lady as myself, a vote to oust the prideful wrath of wrathful pride. Poor purity. I seized the seaman's sneers. Man plays the tamer just to tame his love and models J.P. Morgan by success. Why not pure women play the heroines to teach our household maids man's lifelong chores? To think I fancy mops? Those dirty dregs. Insult a woman, you incite a war. Such brevity, lend me the soul of it, and let a woman's conscience freely flow as Susan's words from women's tropic stream. None but my fiery heart for peace proclaims upon these ascititious facts of strife, unearthly woes for men and women joys. Yes, yes, dear Lord, for justice, I make vows. To play the heroine, the man's the thing, where found his faulty conscience I shall sting. Thank you. So I hope that gives you all a good idea of what I do as far as my writings goes. If you have any questions later about what I do, just let me know. And thank you for having me tonight.